Hey everyone, my name is Ola Lanko, and it's an honor for me to host this 45 minutes and show you around at the photography department. Unfortunately, we can't meet each other live, but I hope we will give you a little bit of insights on how we work, and we meet a lot of different people who will take you through the process and take you on the journey, showing what do we have at the department, what kind of facilities we have, how our program looks like, and I hope you will have a nice and insightful afternoon. Send your questions to the chat. There is somebody who will be answering the questions. So enjoy, have fun, and for me to start this afternoon, I have here a very special guest. It's a co-head of a photography department, John Fleetwood, and he will tell us a little bit more about our department. Hi, John.
Hey.
Yeah, nice to have you here.
Thanks, Ola. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I'm the new co-head of the department. I recently joined. With me, of course, is my colleague Lotte Springer, who has been here for many years. And of course, we are part of a fantastic, inspiring and inspired faculty that have dedicated and very experienced trainers and teachers, and of course, a student body of more than 200 students that I think come from all across the world. And I think that makes the KABK photography department so interesting, is that there's this multiplicity, people coming from different spaces in the world. And I think with them comes these knowledges and histories of photography from different spaces, which I think makes a very interesting space to start to think about photography. And yes, I wanted to chat a little bit about the kind of vision, the future of the department, which is also part of the KABK and the future of the KABK, which I think are all at moments of new trajectories, moments like COVID, which has held us very, very much back in many ways, but has also offered an opportunity to start to think about what that really means for photography, and particularly how new visual languages have developed at the time of COVID or because of COVID, I think can make for very interesting questions. I think part of our realization of where photography sits today is that it's become such an integral part of our communication. It's such an integral part also of our emotional life and how we bond and think about each other. And it's a critical moment for photography also as a knowledge maker, as something that with other knowledge areas are making great strides for us to understand the world better. So I think those are some of the aspects that I think are really critical for us in the department. One area that I'd like to kind of lift is this idea of how photography is. It's not just about interesting images. It's also about images that are necessary for the world. It's how we reflect, how we see the world. And that helps us to kind of position ourselves. It helps us to understand our world, and it helps us to move forward. And so being a photographer in this day, it's not just about managing a camera or handling a camera. Of course, it's very much about technologies, but it's also very much about personal relationships and how we think about how we see ourselves in the world. So talking about technologies, I think there are such interesting moments happening with photography because it's become so immersive. It's everywhere in social media. Images are exchanged and transacted all the time, and they're immensely powerful. And I think that is what prospective students can really start to think about, how they can make their messages and their stories fit into these fields and these understandings.
And I have a little question for you.
Yes.
There are many different academies in the Netherlands, and the Netherlands is quite dense in terms of art academies. What makes us special? Why people who are watching us, what would be our distinct points?
Well, I think perhaps to start off is that there's such an incredible history of the space that have developed such important photographers, and constantly have got photographers coming from here that make groundbreaking work. I think this community of photographers is one that one really wants to be part of, that one can share from. And I think, of course, there's the very important kind of distinctions for KABK in particular that looks at photography in different ways. So from the second year onwards, students can either follow a documentary path or a fiction path. So there's so many modes and possibilities of thinking with photography and using photography that I think that makes it quite interesting. Absolute multiplicity. It's a large school, many students. And of course, there's also part-time courses, which I think is quite extraordinary, that it allows people that are otherwise busy with their careers and perhaps other areas also to think about what photography does.
Thank you, John. Thank you. You kind of pick out a few things that we're going to be exploring also during the day. We're going to meet somebody from part-time as well and talk to different students from second year who are joining particular direction already. So thank you for this introduction. It's a pleasure to meet you. And from you, we move forwards to our next part of the program.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Hello. Hi, everybody. This is Bjorn and Arno. We're two teachers from the photography department. I'm the teacher of photographic skills, and I'm the teacher of digital workflow and skills. And in this small video, we're going to show you around looking at different locations within the photography department, the studios, the dark rooms. We are actually in one of the studios right now. This is the white studio. And well, let's see what's going on here.
And let's continue our conversation. And I have here someone very special. It's Kim from the first year, student from the first year, and she will tell us a little bit about her experience in the first year. So yeah, welcome. So you've been here for the last half a year. It's the first year. How was it for you?
It was exciting. It was overwhelming and really intense, to be honest, but really great. I would say that mainly there's a lot of work to do, but in really different areas. So you get to experiment a lot. And then consequently, you learn a lot during this short semester as well.
And if you, like, what is the most vivid memory for you in this past semester? Maybe a particular course that you want to highlight?
Mm-hmm. I think it was one of the last works we did in the studio, and it was a really free assignment, so we could really choose whatever we wanted to do. And I got models and I went like full out with the shooting, so it was super cool. It felt really professional, to be honest. Yeah.
And before you came here, did you already have any experience?
Not much, to be honest. No, I started photography last year, actually, because I'm also a dancer, so I was more focused on that before. So for me, it was a really, like, everything was super new, and I learned a lot from this semester, maybe more than people who already had previous knowledge.
And where you come from?
Spain, Barcelona.
Barcelona. And
Yes.
I wonder, as an international student, as somebody who's coming to a new country, how do you experience being here in the first year, all these different things, maybe new customs?
Yeah,
new
I think it
things?
depends where you come from. Because coming from Barcelona, I'm like, I don't know, used to the warm weather and the sun and this. So it's a bit harder for me because it's quite cold and rainy. But in the end, it's maybe like it's your attitude towards it. So how you take it and what you make with it. So for me, I actually really like the Netherlands. People are really open. Everyone speaks English. I haven't had any problems. So yeah, great.
Thank you. I had another question. So in the first year, you explore a lot of different things. How is your process organized? Do you work on the longer assignments or shorter? How this, like day to day, how is your day to day look like this first half semester?
So we have really tight deadlines. So they don't give you a lot of time for each assignment. It's like from one week to the other. So basically you get an assignment and you already have to think, like start thinking about what you're gonna do. And then in the next 2 days, you have to get it done. So it's a really fast process, which is good. And it also has its bad stuff. So you cannot like think about a really big project because you don't have the time for it, but it allows you to do more in a shorter time as well.
Do you find it, what is the biggest challenge for you this half semester, first semester?
Oh, wow. That's a good question, because I think it would be to make work that you're actually proud of, maybe. That's the challenge for me, like, because you have such a short time to make it, that sometimes you're not satisfied with the result. So for me, it's being satisfied with what I do. Yeah.
And thank you. Well, that's also good to know that during the duration of these 4 years, you will be exploring all the different facets of the practice. So first year is about learning how to explore, how to experiment. So these different trajectories that are given to you in the first semester is that you embrace the diversity of visual expression. Exactly. So that also comes with the program. And I also, the last question, maybe were there specific projects that you was working on, not your individual, but maybe within the department? I heard there is something as a workshop week.
We had one poster week previous to the Christmas break, and then we worked with a graphic designer, and we tried to combine photography and graphic design. And then we did posters, which was super interesting. We learned InDesign and we worked with other people as well. And then we had a workshop week last week as well, where some teachers, photographers, different people gave workshops and you attended them for like 3-4 days. And yeah, you could choose the workshops as well. So you can always choose what you're more interested in, which was really nice.
Well, thanks a lot, Kim. It was a pleasure to have you here. I also start teaching you very soon, so I will see you next week.
Yeah,
so we'll see each other again. And let's continue. So thank you, Kim. And we will continue with Alexander. And Alexander is the student of part-time, second year. And it is quite a remarkable proposition that we have a part-time program at our department, which is has a different flavor than a full-time. And Alexander hopefully will tell us a little bit about how it's look like and what are the differences between full-time and part-time program. Hi, Alexander.
Hey, Ola.
Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, so the differences between full-time and part-time, I think first of all, it's really nice, like John said, that you're able to have a possibility if you, for example, have a lot of work or have a family on the side or are just in a different part of life, so to say, compared to people who come out of high school. Then you can have the part-time program where you have Thursdays and Fridays, and yeah, I mean, it's also really intense, but intense in a different way. And yeah, I mean, the program it's structured differently, but you still get a lot of the sort of same skills as you learn in the full-time. So that's really nice.
And what about the group? How many people are there?
As of right now, I think we're 12.
Yeah, and just to compare to the full-time program, it's
yeah, of course, it's quite different. It's a different dynamic. You have more time with the teachers, and I think also maybe the feedback is a bit different in the part-time program. And for me, I think one of the main reasons to choose part-time was I have history in like commercial photography, so it was nice to also meet students who have like different backgrounds. Some people have have masters in sociology or have geography. Like, so it's really a varied mix of people, and I find very inspiring.
And you coming from a commercial photography background, I'm so curious how you experienced now art school. Also, well, maybe you can talk a little bit. Why did you decide to explore further, and especially like knowing already so much about photography and how to use it productively, how do you again kind of open up yourself to some like creative process that has to be completely uncontained within any kind of format? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I felt I was at a really good stage on a technical level, and I knew I had a lot of skills, but I still felt I was lacking in more of the storytelling way, and also just like in general, my view on photography was very one-directional. So then I thought, okay, I'll challenge myself and try this art academy, and it's really been sort of an eye-opener for me, and to see all these, being able to still learn new stuff, even though I've worked with photography for 5 years, there's still so many new discussions and references. You come to this academy and all of a sudden people from around the world saying, oh, you should check this out, this photographer. So it's so many inputs, and which is really also reignited my passion for photography.
I feel that also like radiating from you. Thank you for that. I'm curious about the program of second year. How did it look like? If you also compare it to the first year, maybe if you remember.
So, like Kim said, first year is very intense. Second year is also intense, but you have a bit more time. You start your first long-term project, which is for an entire semester. So that's nice to sort of, on the side, you have the small assignments that runs weekly, but you also have one that's the whole semester. So it's nice combining the skills, the things you learn from the first year, but just trying things out, and then also having the time to really dive into research more, and sort of a back and forth play, and presenting your work and your research to your classmates, and then getting feedback from that, and having the time to develop further on the project. And I think that's sort of the main difference between the first year and the second year.
How are you enjoying the difference?
I like it. I really enjoy it, and I think in the first year you're so focused, you just want the long-term projects, but I think it's nice building up to that, because it's also a bit overwhelming having all this time all of a sudden. Now you have a whole semester. How am I going to structure my time, and what if I get stuck, like all these things. And I think then the first year prepares you for that, even though it's still intense, no matter if it's weekly assignments or if it's longer assignments.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Alexander, for your introduction. Very insightful. You also covered a few points that I was like, okay, I should ask about it.
Yeah.
But, you kind of nicely covered those. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you around.
See you around.
Thanks.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Moitza.
And my name is Michał.
We're currently in the second year of photography department at KABK. Our class was organizing the network week this year that took place from 10th to 13th of January. It is a time between first and second semester when we can talk to professionals about their work, our work, and ask questions. We will give you some insight on how it looks like and how the process of organizing went for us.
After deciding upon the theme, which was shaping new narratives and dividing the tasks, we started brainstorming about which artists would be interesting according to their practice. We did the research together and decided who to send invitations to. Next thing was to decide where it would be held. Due to COVID restrictions, we had to switch everything to online. Therefore, studio visits got cancelled and we reshaped it into webinars.
Without any restrictions, normally there are live open discussions, panel talks, studio visits, and Q&As. We tried to adapt and still include those things into the online environment. It was a dynamic workflow since we had different groups working on things like promoting the network week, making the posters in collaboration with graphic design department. We had to contact the artists and invite them individually and later collect questions for their discussions.
This year, there were 21 artists participating in total. Each day we had presentations by artists with a group of 10 to 15 students so that everyone gets a chance to ask questions. Besides meetings in small groups, there were 2 lectures for the whole department that inspired many of us, and we got to know more details about the way of working of the presenting artists.
If you want to know more details, you can read more at the Network Week webpage. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye.
I'm here again. I'm now with Ira. Ira is a third-year student. Welcome.
Hi.
Ira is coming from Austria, well, it's a pleasure for me to be working with you already for 2 years. So it's the third year we're working together, and I see the whole development, which is really beautiful to see. I was curious about how do you experience the third year now, how the program looks like, what are you busy with? Just give us a bit of insight into your day-to-day practice.
Yeah, to be honest, straight up, I think the third year so far was definitely the best experience because it gives you a lot of, like, way more freedom to actually do your own thing. You can really dive into your own project because basically it starts right off with diving into a long-term project, and the whole semester is focused on that. So you're working towards an exhibition. You're working towards a publication that is also connected to your own work, but it's also really about this moment of coming together at a collective and forming this exhibition. So this whole semester, this whole past 4 months for us has been quite a roller coaster, but it was also really beautiful because we learned a lot from this experience.
And to give a bit of a context to the audience who doesn't know what exhibition means, what are you talking about?
So basically in the third year, you're organizing an exhibition in the gray space in the middle, and it's also simultaneously going to be your collective, so your assessment. But in focus stands really to go out to move your projects towards the public and to show what you've been working on. This year, this hasn't really been working out like that because of COVID. So we kind of came up with a hybrid version of creating a physical exhibition that takes place at the gray space in the middle, but also creating a whole online program based on that exhibition, based on the works where you can really dive into what we've been working on. And it's all bound together in this exhibition that is titled Unfolding Territories.
And you've been working together with the whole group. And how is the collaboration went? Because you need to, like, more than 40 students have to work together. There was something, how did that go?
Yeah, we are 46 students, so it's quite a bunch of people. And there's a lot of different talents. And actually, it's been quite a beautiful process because you really unravel each talent. So suddenly there's someone that is really good in construction work, that was Hein in this case, that really took over the whole space and organized the build-ups of the walls. And then there are people that take over the Instagram. There are people like I, for example, was really involved in designing the publication that we came up with as a collective. So it's super intense. Communication can get really tricky, but I feel like it's really bonding you together and you get to know each other very well.
And what do you think, like a learning objective with this process? Like, what did you learn? This half a year you've been working on one project, deep dive into something from the beginning to the end. What did you learn during this time?
Well, a lot of practical stuff. So really a lot of like hands-on stuff, but also regarding the COVID situation, we didn't only build a physical exhibition, we really brought it to another space and we really explored what other possibilities there are, what other possibilities do you have when you cannot enter a space. So this like made us really it was really challenging because we had to create this utterly new space kind of, but this also brings a lot of excitement and a lot of learning. So learning objectives, really also how do you in a time where it's not possible to be physically somewhere, what does it bring actually, how can you learn from it and how can you turn it around so you actually create something positive out of it.
Yeah, well, thanks. And talking about different ways to bring your work to people. We also have on the background here a publication spread out that's also made by your group, by the Cockroach Collective. So the 30-year students, they form a collective that's called Cockroach. And this publication, do you want to tell us what it is?
Yeah, so the idea, again, it's also a bit connected to our exhibition of like this unfolding territories, that like a territory is a map, like this idea of spreading into the city, because again, because of COVID, in the second year you do a field trip and we had to stay in The Hague. So all the work circulated around this city, and the publication is designed in a way that you can hang them up as posters on the wall. So it's unfolding basically, and it's loosely designed, so you can just like transform it also. It's a bit like a movement, like a city is also like in constant transformation, and also the times that we are living in. It's like this constant transformation. So I feel like this is a bit what really bounds it together.
And this project you did in the second year, right? That's a field trip project.
Yes,
yeah, which
but
is
we
a part
published it only this year.
All right.
Yeah.
And people can also buy it, right?
Yeah, you can buy it. You can find everything on the website.
Yeah, and we will put the link to the exhibition that Ira was talking about in the chat. So please make sure you visit and support students by maybe buying their publication, and definitely explore their works more in depth. Well, thanks a lot. Ira, it was a pleasure to have you here. And now we're gonna have a little dive into the space itself. We're gonna have a little, we're gonna see a little video that will show us gray space in the middle. So you have a bit of a taste of how the exhibition looked like.
Hello, everyone. Tuning in from near and far, far and near. We're happy that you're here. We're here right now, coming to you live from the Netherlands, the city, the beach, the Hague, the Onion, here at the gray space in the middle, where we are at the exhibition for the third year Bachelor Department of Photography at the Royal Academy of Art, aka the Cockroach Collective. And they're presenting their work that they've put together for past 4 or 5 months, I suppose, in this exhibition called Unfolding Territories. I'm guessing this is very... Sean is an artist from Switzerland. Sean, you over here? Help me out, yeah? But are these from Switzerland? Is this a Swiss product or Dutch?
Dutch specialty.
Dutch specialty.
So yeah, my project is about me being a child of immigrants, not really having a lot of real evidence of where I come from.
Are you having now a conversation yourself? Because they're having a conversation with each other. Are you now, with working with them so intimately, are you able to listen to them? Do they say things to you?
They definitely speak. Like a lot of things when I'm working break, or they make a lot of loud sounds, and I really embrace those sounds. I really embrace when things break. It's really not about bringing them into one specific form. Like I try to just give them their space to also create their own living, because objects, they decay, they transform all the time, like we humans also do. So I don't mind if there's like things that we would see as mistakes, you know, because for me it's not mistakes, it's just them also expressing their way of living and decaying and transforming.
We're moving. We got Dora's work, Dora Ramlik from Croatia. Dora, okay, I gotta be honest, I read your project description. It's a long one. It's lovely.
It was kind of like a political stand towards saying that whatever we kind of impose on nature, we can act, like nature will always just do its own.
Woven cover.
Yeah.
It's portraiture, but it's a much more intimate take. You can see some of the process right here that Marline incorporated of using a little scanning pen that scans the body and having people scan her while she scans other people as well. Beautiful, descriptive, caring works that are worth checking out. Love to see material come together, love to see people come together.
And here you can see the tarot cards. The reason I picked tarot cards is because tarot cards have very, fluid meanings.
upright, they often have a positive meaning, and when you pull them upside down, they often have a negative meaning. But even then, it's uncertain. That's what I really like about it, because it reminds me of the way that care is never fully certain as well.
Megan, please tell the people what your title of your work is.
No remorse for a fallen chromosome.
No remorse for a fallen chromosome.
Yeah.
Can you tell us why is it called that? What is it about?
It kind of looks into the notion of transhumanism, which is the idea that technology can advance the human race in ways of extending lifespans and hyper-intelligence and these kind of things, which are interesting because I'm questioning where will empathy and things go with human enhancement.
And I'm here back with you. I hope you got a little bit better idea or can visualize how the exhibition looks like. Please check out the works of the students on the website that we'll be posting in the chat. And talking about the chat, there are a lot of questions. We will be answering them, so have a little bit of patience. But now there are just really many of them coming up, which is great. I love your enthusiasm, so keep it up. And I am taking you further onto our final year, graduation year, and to tell you more about how this year looks like. I have here Ad is the fourth year student documentary direction. The documentary direction, and I have a few questions. Basically, I would like to first talk a little bit about your internship, because in the third year, the part of the third year is the internship. So how did you experience that in third year? Where did you go? What is it, internship?
Well, I think as a general phase and idea, the internship is the part of the program where you really start to go out in the world and start to move under your own steam, which is a really important part. So it's kind of putting together the first 2.5 years of like your formal art education, and then you take it and you start to apply it in essence in the real world, which is what makes it really interesting. So there's a lot of scope with what people can do as well. Some people go to editors, people don't just go to artists or photographers, people like to go abroad. So it's a good opportunity to kind of figure out where you fit in the professional world. And what I did is I chose to do mine remotely through the internet, actually, because that worked for me, because I have other commitments as well, but I still wanted to do something that was really immersive. So I went with the UN's regulatory body on shipping and their emissions, which is the International Maritime Organization. And I worked mostly in the port of Rotterdam as kind of their PR agent based in Holland. So I was traveling up and down Holland, up and down the Rhine, talking to shipping companies, talking to charities based around promotion and advocacy of rights of seafarers, and figuring out where does my practice fit in with that as well, and how can I use my practice, photographic practice, to benefit other people's causes and also myself in my own professional manner. And
if you look back now at the period, internship period, can you say that there was something that really contributed to your practice at the moment? That's something that contributed?
Yeah, I would say actually workflow wise, when you work for someone else, it's obviously very different kind of motivation that you work for than if you're making your own art project where you have complete freedom of what you want to do, what you want to say. That all gets flipped on its head when you're working with someone else for a real end goal, and then the goal not being that I want to say something like this, but the end goal having to be a concrete result, be that images, be it text, be it a campaign, be it a collaboration, whatever. So that's the real important takeout for me, was working to engage kind of my head gear with other people's kind of gears as well, and making those levers and cogs turn. And that's kind of for me, that was the most important part of the internship kind of phase.
And now, because you also describe a lot of things that were forming you professionally, like just being understanding how the field you want to participate looks like. So, and having somebody's help to basically show you how it works. Because your practice also, maybe just a few words about your practice, because I know that it's I'm just curious to maybe hear a little bit about what kind of as you graduate, like what kind of photographer can you become? Because you're one of the people who graduate. So who are you?
Oh, well,
As a maker, yeah.
Who am I as a maker? Well, I would say that's not a different question as who are you. So I'd say who am I as a person and a maker is I'm well, I'm quite documentary style, so I'm not creating insane woven kind of visuals and stuff, but I'm very into traveling and spirituality and landscape and nature. So that's kind of it's not just the central theme of photography in my art, it's a central theme of my life, which is why it's the central theme of my photography, and that's for prospective people who are thinking of going into that program. That's one of the most important things you should know, is the things that you're passionate about in your life. There's no need to separate it from what you're going to study here. So that for me is kind of what I'm really based around. I love to work with video. I love to work with film photography. So those are two things I've really had the opportunity to kind of nurture with under my own steam here, like using the darkroom facilities and stuff. That's also a really key part of coming back to this question of who am I as a maker, what am I doing? You can't do all that work in your head. You have to do it physically as well. So that could be developing film, that could be scanning, that could be doing digital suite editing on something like Cinema 4D. And that's also a really important part alongside all the conceptual stuff, alongside all the thematic stuff, is that if you want to kind of pin down where you are as a maker and push that in some kind of direction, saying what you want to say, the physical side has to be there as well. And that's the ideal thing about being here with all the facilities and such wise. So that's.
So you say, so the darkroom is available. Yeah, I'm
like
checking out. So yeah, we have darkroom
studios
to work in. How's your as we been in the fourth year? How is your study structured? What is it again day to day? Is it an individual conversation, group sessions? Because you're working for the whole year on your graduation work and your thesis, your graduation work, and the commissioned work. Can you tell us a little bit about that
for
structure?
sure. Well, the semester, we've just had the first semester, and that's just finished a week or two ago. And that semester, although you have kind of the graduation project work, the thesis, and the commission work, which is another kind of like client-based work, you all have that in the frying pan at the same time. So in the past semester, the focus has mainly been on writing your thesis and doing that commission work, which is, again, one of these things where you're making your artistic vision kind of slot into the professional world. So those are the two main things that are on the main burners in the first semester. But then, of course, at the same time, you're still working on your grad project. And then as you go into the second semester, it becomes much more about that. And the way my day generally looks for me is if I have a lesson, I'll normally start in the morning. I come and have the lesson in the morning, have a group feedback session, like go through what people have made that's new, like give feedback, get feedback on your own work, kind of figure out what you need to do, position yourself. And then if I don't have a class and if I'm not at work, then I'm probably just here like working on my stuff, using the facilities because it's super useful, and kind of getting my workflow sorted out and trying to find, okay, what's the most productive use of this time, which is nice because I like to have the feedback. For me, the personal thinking about, I like to have the feedback from my classmates, but I'm not the biggest team player. I like to have the opportunity to work on my own stuff. But that being said, like a part of studying here, a very important part of studying here is learning how to interact with your classmates and your peers and getting feedback and knowing how to give feedback. And even if you're not like you don't have to be a super big extrovert to study here at all. That's not the case for me. But at the same time, when you're learning those kind of social skills in the artistic workplace, it's very important and it's very beneficial for you and your practice, which is like the central thing of the whole thing. It's you and your practice.
And now you're working towards the show.
We are.
In the summer. So can you tell a little bit more about that? Maybe you can invite also people to join.
I mean, you're very welcome to join the graduation show. I believe it's on the 1st July. I don't know. It looks like last week. I can't remember. But it's around then. So that's basically like what everyone in the school in the graduating year is working up towards. Obviously, like a lot of people from different departments come and help out as well, and that's like the graduation year of each department. And a big opportunity to really display like basically what the whole school career has been about, which is your final graduation work, which is like getting like the bow on the present of your education. And that's kind of the highlight of the calendar, where everyone's work's going to be displayed around the whole building. It's a really nice opportunity to come and walk around, like see different disciplines of art, see what people have been up to. And it's also a really good opportunity for we students to network as well, like kind of get our work out there in the world and kind of start to get a grip of what we're going to do next. and also a nice chance to reflect on 4 and in some people's cases 5 years of art education. But it's worth going to. It's a fantastic event. Last year's was brilliant, and I'm sure this year's will be as well.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks Ed, for your time, for your reflections, also for a few really good advices. I will take out, you don't have to be an extrovert, and stick to your passion.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what
absolutely.
I'm taking out of this. Well,
Absolutely.
thanks a lot. I am going to round up our presentation. It was short, it was a roller coaster, but I hope you got an idea about what to expect here. I took you through the 4 main years. Let me just briefly summarize what to expect on each year. And so first year is mostly about your exploration and visual development. On the second year, you're going to learn more in-depth research and working on the project and collaborating with different departments. On the third year, it's you're becoming the part of the photographic discourse. You're gonna join the internship and work on the exhibition that we just saw on this happening just right now in a great space. And in the fourth year, which is the culmination of the whole studies, is you are graduating with a clear idea about who are you and the maker. You are being led through a professional development. You get an idea about how to engage with the world after your graduation. So each year has its own flow, its own specificity, and together the whole study hopefully will allow you to manifest artistically to your full blossom. Thanks a lot for being with us. The questions in the chat will be answered. Feel free to contact our coordinator. The contact will be also shared in the chat. I hope to see you at some point, maybe as students, maybe during the entrance exam, and enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks again for your time.